Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. We're here at the Champion Arms Indoor Shooting Range in Kent, Washington to shoot this. This will be fun. It's not at all the beast you might expect for such a wee little thing. We'll talk more about this and give some explanation when I get back to the shop. So, a good few years back, Taurus decided to make just the smallest, lightest possible version of their popular Model 85 snub-nose revolver, which was a 5-shot J-frame clone. And so they made it out of aluminum with a titanium barrel sleeve and titanium cylinder with a tiny, weirdly shaped handle and a 1.4-inch barrel. And it was small, and it weighed 9 ounces, which is, significantly lighter than even an airweight Smith & Wesson J-frame. And it was certainly unique. One of its features was a Lexan side plate, so you could see the action functioning, which was a straight-up gimmick and didn't work well. Apparently they cracked after being fired extensively. Like, I can't imagine anyone firing them that extensively, but pretty quickly an aluminum side plate replacement was introduced. And you have to respect their out-of-the-box thinking, and they genuinely did make a very, very small J-frame sized gun, but it was absolutely brutal to fire. It was referred to as being painful, even with target ammunition, which is pretty mild stuff. So it was touted as a gun you would carry a lot and shoot very little. And a couple of more honest reviewers said that shooting it rapidly was problematic because it was small, painful, and hard to hang on to. And this got me thinking, well, how small can you make a J-frame and have it legitimately be usable? And, of course, I looked at J-frames and not suited really to what I had in mind, because they have their serial number on the bottom of the grip frame, which means you can't really reduce it in size comparable to the Taurus. So I sort of put that in the back of my mind, and when tabled it until I was offered a Taurus Model 85 at a very good price, and I took him up on it and immediately started thinking about, okay, how can I muck with this? And I shortened the barrel by 1/4 inch and cut and re-welded the grip frame and put some tiny grips on it, and it was shootable. It wasn't quite as small, but it was shootable. And I tried different grips. The original grip I had on it was comfortable enough to fire, but it was very hard to grab in a hurry, which sort of defeats the purpose of what is, obviously a self-defense gun. So I eventually came up with a different grip shape, which we'll talk about in the tabletop in a minute. And it was eminently shootable, and part of that was the shape of the grip, and a large part of that was because instead of 9 ounces, it weighed 18 ounces. And that seems to make all the difference, because people find the gun pretty comfortable to shoot. So let's go to the tabletop and give you a really good look at this. So here's the size comparison with the Model 37 Airweight Chief Special. And as you can see, the Taurus is significantly smaller. It won't sit there, of course, but you get the idea. Let's unload and show clear. Okay, we are empty. So, things I did. Initially, I shortened the barrel by 1/4 inch only, to retain the plunger that stabilizes the front of the cylinder crane, or the via this, the ejector. And I carried it that way as a back pocket gun around the house and shop for a good couple of very sweaty summers, which has had a deleterious effect on the Cerakote. Now, the Cerakote happened because a friend of mine got into the business and said, "Tinker, let me Cerakote a gun for you." And I thought, well, if this is going to live in my pocket, yeah, this one. And he did a lovely job, which is, after a couple of years, noticeably less lovely, but that's hardly his fault. So, as you can see, I've rounded off a bunch of corners, and I've shortened the barrel even further, because I'm not entirely convinced that for a limited use gun like this, the plunger stabilizing the ejector tube is really all that important. If it proves to be important, I will put a detent in the crane, or there's a couple other methods of stabilizing it at this end that I can employ. But so far, it doesn't seem necessary. I have also bobbed the hammer. This is not a Taurus factory bobbed hammer, as you can see. And I have not disabled the single action entirely, although I can't imagine a circumstance under which I would use it. I have smoothed the trigger face and done a little bit of internal smoothing so that the trigger pull is improved over Taurus standard, which is not what you'd call an extremely high standard all the time. It's been getting better in recent years, so, credit where credit's due. Now, the grip frame I had to shorten, which is why I had to use a Taurus instead of a Smith & Wesson. On the Smith & Wesson, the serial number being located here makes that a no-touch zone, because federal law says you go to jail if you mess with that. So, I know it's always fascinating to watch somebody using a screwdriver on YouTube. You can see that the grip frame is reduced considerably in size. I cut it off after making sure I had clearance for the spring guide rod, and re-welded this section on. This is pre-Cerakote, of course. And then I made the couple different grips before I settled on these, which are very similar to the Ergo style grips, more screwdriver porn for you, that are available in rubber but are significantly larger. And it really doesn't look like there's anything to hang on to, but it's very surprising because you actually get two fingers very firmly on that handle, and it drives your hand, my hand at least, way up on the grip, which aids in controlling the gun. And again, it's not at all unpleasant to shoot, or even difficult to shoot accurately other than the very short sight radius. So there's the tiny Taurus. So this, the tiny Taurus has turned out to be actually quite useful. Although, like most of my projects, it started as a kind of I wonder what, or I wonder if kind of project. I wonder how small I can make a J-frame without it becoming useless. And this is definitely not useless. It's kind of a hoot to shoot, in fact. So anyway, there you have it, Tinker's tiny Taurus. And I hope you're all doing well. Stay safe and take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.